Texas, 1984. Ronald Clark O'Brien lived with his wife and 2 children in Deer Park, Texas. O'Brien worked as an optician and also served as the deacon at his local church. On Halloween night 1974, O'Brien took his 2 children, Timothy and Elizabeth, trick-or-treating. At some point in the evening, his children ran ahead. When O'Brien caught up to them, he gave them pixie sticks he claimed he got from a house they left behind. Once they got home, Timothy tore into his pixie stick, complaining that it tasted bitter. Timothy began to vomit and convulse. The 8-year-old boy died on the way to the hospital less than 1 hour after eating the candy. Timothy's autopsy revealed that the pixie stick he ate was laced with potassium cyanide. The local community panicked. Parents threw their children's candy away, fearing for their kids' safety. O'Brien told police that he could not remember which house he got the poisoned candy from. Police became suspicious of the father because he had taken his children to only homes on 2 streets because it had been raining. None of the homes they had visited had handed out pixie sticks. Police also discovered that Ronald O'Brien was over $100,000 in debt. O'Brien had also taken out life insurance policies on his children in the months preceding Timothy's death. The policies totaled around $60,000. O'Brien sealed his fate by calling his insurance company the morning after his son's death to ask about collecting the policies. O'Brien was found guilty of capital murder. He was sentenced to death and executed via lethal injection on March 31st, 1984. Delaware, 2005. Everyone thought it was a Halloween decoration. Motorists drove by in awe of the body which dangled by its neck from a tree branch. It was so lifelike. Well, it was lifelike because it was a real body, a woman's body. The 42-year-old woman lived nearby. Why she chose this tree remains a mystery. Perhaps she wanted to give people something she never had in life. Joy. A twisted joy, but one nonetheless. Police ruled the death a suicide. Louisiana, 1992. Yoshihiro Hattori, a Japanese student, was 16 years old when he went to Baton Rouge in August 1992 as part of a student exchange program. Hattori and his homestay brother, Webb Haymaker, went to a Halloween party on October 17, 1992. Hattori went dressed as John Travolta's character from the movie Saturday Night Fever. The 2 young men mistook the residence of Rodney Pears as the party's location. Pears, a supermarket butcher, lived there with his wife Bonnie. Nobody came to the front door, but according to testimony, Bonnie saw the men and panicked. She slammed the door and told her husband to get his gun. The young men realized they were at the wrong house and went to leave. Before they could, Rodney Pears opened the carport door, armed with a .44 Magnum revolver. Hattori was holding a camera, which Pears allegedly mistook for a weapon. Pears fired his gun at the exchange student from a distance of about 5 feet away. The shot pierced Hattori's left lung and exited through his ribs. Hattori later died in an ambulance from a loss of blood. Pears was charged with manslaughter. Pears testified that he shot Hattori because he feared for his life. "I was scared to death," Pears stated. "This person was not going to stop." The trial lasted 7 days, ending with a not guilty verdict for Pears. However, in a later civil suit, the court found Rodney Pears liable to Hattori's parents for $650,000 in damages. Hattori's parents used the money to establish 2 charities in their son's name. One, to fund U.S. high school students wishing to visit Japan, and the other to fund organizations which lobby for gun control. Apparently, in 2013, Pears lost his home and his supermarket job and was living in a trailer park. Iowa, 1982. On October 30th, 1982, 69-year-old Marvin Brandland and his wife Ethel spent the evening passing out candy to trick-or-treaters. Just minutes after their granddaughter Teresa left their house, another person knocked on the front door. Standing outside was a figure wearing a pillowcase over their head. Holes were cut out for eyes. The Brandlands opened the door. "Trick or treat," the figure said. "Give me your money or I'll shoot." Ethel tried to lift the pillowcase, thinking it might be a relative playing a Halloween joke on them. But the trick-or-treater held it down. The hooded figure pulled out a gun. He then ordered the couple to the basement where they kept a safe. Few people knew the Brandlands had a safe, mainly just family members. When they got to the kitchen, Mr. Brandland reached for the gun. The trick-or-treater shot him in the throat. The shooter then tore off the pillowcase and threw it down before fleeing the scene. Mr. Brandland was airlifted to a hospital where he died on the operating table. The pillowcase, a key piece of evidence, was left behind at the scene. In 2010, the pillowcase was tested for DNA, but there wasn't enough DNA on it to make a match. The case remains unsolved. Texas, 2016. At a Halloween party in San Antonio, Robert Contreras was dressed up like Freddy Krueger, the main character in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie series. Contreras, along with 2 other suspects, were accused of forcing their way into a home. Police alleged there was a pushing match between the 3 suspects and a man and his friends. Contreras allegedly shot the man in the abdomen before running away. Contreras was arrested for the crime. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and the unlawful carry of a weapon. New York, 2014. Some people who actually saw the severed head and decapitated body thought the gruesome scene was a Halloween prank. 66-year-old Patricia Ward was killed by her 35-year-old son, Derek, inside their apartment. Patricia's body was dragged out onto the street where it was found. About 25 minutes after the murder, Metropolitan Transportation Authority police got a call that a train struck and killed a man around 1,000 feet away from where Patricia's body was found. The man was Derek Ward. There were no witnesses to the actual crime. No one heard any noise. Police could not produce a motive why Derek killed his mother. Derek had a criminal history and a history of mental illness as well. It was said that Derek was distressed over the recent death of his paternal grandfather.